Hello, 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 and welcome to the Power Up Ideas for Life program. And I'm glad you're here because this is the very first episode. My name is Tunde Makun. I am the Chief Inspiration Officer of Purpose, Power and Lifestyle Design International. The mission of PPLD, as it's known, is to raise the consciousness of people who want success on their own terms. Ultimately, if you don't have a plan for your life, you're going to live someone else's plan. And for a few designing individuals, they are hungry for knowledge on how to achieve this. And so PPLD is actually here to fill in some kind of gap in this area. And at this point also, it's like split into the corporate and the business world. So really, I have a broad spectrum of experience in the corporate as well as in the business. But I'm not going to come to pontificate to you about how things should be, behave like a guru or an expert that can do no wrong. What really I wish to project is the fact that as human beings, we go through life with all kinds of results. And the obstacles are there. Some results we like, some we don't like. But from the learning points, a lot more people will be encouraged to know that, one, you cannot avoid obstacles. Two, obstacles are opportunities. And three, when you learn from other people, your own learning curve is shortened and the pains associated with it. And that's really what you gain. Now, going further, I can say that the promise of this program is for you to be able to have some kind of conversations that is free-flowing, that's refreshing, full of ideas, and is real. And we can share experiences, you know. Now, it will be factual, and ultimately, what I want to achieve is to develop what I call exponentials. Let me say a little bit about exponentials. From the beginning of time, a day has been 24 hours and it's not going to change very soon. But what you realize is that people go through life not being able to maximize the time. I want to bring your attention to a construction site. When you see a crane working on a 25-story building, can you imagine how much of effort and time is saved by that single equipment piece? The number of human beings and man hours and the energy that will have been expended. When you look at the local environment, when people are building even a story building, you see like 25 people carrying all kinds of receptacles with wet cement and gravel and sand. They're going up and down like army of termites. If you're familiar with termites, you see them, they're going in some journey, zigzag, but they're moving. So, but if you have like a 200-ton crane that's lifting concrete and slabs, that's what I call exponential. Now, but here, we're not human doings, we're actually human beings. And that's what makes the difference. Because we have the third degree of control, usually what happens is that unless we are not tutored or unless we are not prepared, we really have control of 90+% of how we utilize our time. And time, by the way, is the most expensive resource. If I lose money, I can always make it back by my experience, because I didn't come by money through lottery. It's by some systematic way of creating value for which I'm paid. And so I don't have a problem. But if I cannot account for 3 weeks of my time in a productive manner, then I'm going to feel very bad. And that's the exponential. What I'm talking about here is saying that, is it possible to bring our minds back to say, who are we? Why are we here? What can we do differently to have different results? What is it that make us who we are with regards to where we want to go or who we want to be? So essentially, there's a concept called gap management. We're always managing a gap between where we are and where we wish to be. And what you will discover is that some people don't even have a view of the two, the beginning and the end. They just keep moving. So this program is it's like peeling an onion. You're going to see things unfolding layer after layer. And I'm not an expert in everything, but I can tell you that I'll do my best to bring experts in different areas. And that takes me to the concept of success. Because ultimately, even from very little, we're always talking about success. But it will shock you to know that most people have never really sat down to define what success means to them. And if you also look at the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, self-actualization is at the peak, which is like fulfillment. Statistically, maybe not more than 3% are ever at that level. The good news is that new knowledge is coming out to the effect that what we thought was so difficult has actually been very easy for people who had this knowledge. So this program is to enlighten people who really care to live a life of significance. That yes, it doesn't matter what you've been through, it doesn't matter what your background is, it's a decision that from this moment, I decide to live my life differently. I like the concept of lifestyle. Lifestyle is not about a very hefty bank account. It's about if I have only 100,000 naira or $2,000, how would I have a life that is optimal with the amount of money that will give me a balance in 8 key areas of life? And that is probably a good time to begin to talk about what are the critical areas of success. Success, in my opinion, is not about how rich I am. It's not about how many buildings I have. It's a lot more about how much balance do I have in my existence. Am I wealthy to the extent that I'm comfortable with? Because to be honest with you, wealth is not something that you can say is there to just pick. Otherwise, everybody will be wealthy. But that's a different subject. We'll come to that in subsequent episodes. But when I look at my wealth level and I look at how happy I am with my career, I look at how healthy I am, and then I have fun and adventure, then how about my family life, my relationships? Am I surrounded by friends who are helpful and nice and kind? And then I also want to look at success from the perspective of spirituality. 90+% of humanity believes in one thing or the other. We may not all flow in the same direction, but which makes it interesting because you realize that no matter how intelligent or brilliant you are, you don't have control of all the variables. The most important things in life are free. Nobody has been able to decode that storage where air that is blowing is coming from, or tornadoes, hurricanes, the rising and setting of the sun on a daily basis without fail. These are not human contraptions, and because I believe that there is a divine authority, and because also it will surprise most people that even the people that you don't know which religion or denomination they belong to, that are very wealthy, they are very spiritual, and because there is a code to this, and again, going forward in the future, we're going to break things down in this direction. But what is essential is that I see success from these 8 key parameters. And if you're not healthy, please tell me about your wealth. How can you be wealthy? Which energy are you going to drive the process to gain wealth? When you have negative people around you, how much can you fly, really? And when you don't have a legacy, at the end of time, you realize that there's no accomplishment. And that explains partly why you have very many rich people who are absolutely unhappy. How can you explain people who are very rich and commit suicide? The answer is coming from lack of accomplishment. In essence, what I'm saying here is that the Power Up Ideas for Life program is to bring to the fore the need for us to have a clear view of how to live a life by design. Now, one quote that's very important, which most of us have heard at one time or the other, is the definition of insanity. We keep doing the same thing and expect different results. I don't know how it's going to work. But guess what? We are also intelligent human beings. We should know. But why is it that we don't ask, so how can we stop doing the same thing? That's one of the platforms on which PPLD is built. That was the wake-up point for me. And I want to also encourage you to begin to ask yourself these kind of questions. Why would you keep doing the same thing and expect different results? What does it take to stop doing the same thing? What are the tools? What are the strategies? What are the concepts? What are the ideas? What is the discipline that you need? What's the routine? What are the habits that need to be reformed? All these things I'm saying are in the realm of transformation, a change of state from where you are to where you want to be. My invitation to you is to begin to ask yourself serious questions. Who am I? What are my strengths? What are my weaknesses? What are the things that are working for me today? What are the things that I need to change? What are the things that I need to improve upon? And then when you have the answers to that, you go to the other end. What do I need to do to be who I want to be? Who do I wish to be? Now we know that the programming we've had as to how we need to keep doing so that we can have and then be is a wrong program. And that's why we don't focus on the essence of who we are. Again, we are not human doing, we are human being. The kernel of the training that PPLD does is about the human being. And so this is what you're going to find as a theme in all the episodes that are going to come. That we will not be talking about how intelligent you are, or how a terrific accountant you are, or how gifted engineer you can be, or how erudite a lawyer you are. We're going to talk about what is that gift that you were given, that you've come to the world to use for the benefit of others. It was the late Ziegler that said, you would get everything you want if only you can help as many people get what they want. I fully and completely subscribe to that. And thankfully, it's not such a difficult thing for me to do, because really, there was one concept that came to my view some years ago, and I said, well, that's really interesting. Do you know what brings the greatest joy to an average human being? It's bringing joy to another person's mood or state of being. And without introduction and foundation, I wish to implore you to tune in on a weekly basis, because we're going to shoot these episodes to you, but with an open mind. We're not going to be doing a talking shop here. We're going to be giving you tools that you can use, actionable items that you can go back and it can be in form of questions. It can also be actions to take. Or however, the promise is that there will be a lot of value going forward. And if you want to know more about what we do in PPLD, I would advise you to go onto our website. It's www.powerupforsuccess.com. And we have all sorts of articles and content that would provide inspiration and motivate you to take action. And in the coming episode, I'm going to talk about the value of transformation, because that's where it all begins. And I'm so glad that it's been a very exciting time. It's more or less time for me to knock off this particular episode, and by the grace of God, next week there will be a fresh one, and I promise that it will be very interesting. Let's have your feedback. Go to the website, and if you have any ideas, shoot us an email to tunde@powerupsuccess.com, and I can assure you that every email will be answered personally by me. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. God bless.